Okay, and I went over a lot here, and I'm like, man, this just doesn't seem right. Why is this, like, the compression is higher but crappy still? And I've had that compression tester a long time, and I'm starting to doubt it because everything mechanically was looking okay. So I was like, it's time to just get another compression tester. Sorry, I'm super sick if I sound funny. I'm like, I'm just gonna go buy a fucking compression tester. I'm gonna get another one. So I went and I got another compression tester, and let me just hit it for you here quick. It's doing much better. Oh yeah, over 150. So I'm guessing the other compression tester got a little beat up, and that's pretty good because it's like pretty cold out here. The block has got to be 30 degrees. So that cold compression is very good. So that makes me feel better because I was like, what the hell is going on here? Why is it so low again? Because I thought I did everything right. So what's funny is my numbers were not that low, because if I test this thing again with the other tester, it's like 30 pounds, maybe 60 max, and it's more than double that with this tester. So my original low number isn't really that bad because the tester is actually bad. So that doesn't mean it isn't leaking awfully. So I will show that in the video. I'm sure I've shown it by now, but yes, I'm starting a day or two after. It still has that leak, so I think that's where the drivability miss is coming from. So I'm going to do the other cylinder head next and see if that fixes the drivability stumble other issue, and then we're going to see what these cylinder heads do for horsepower when I get to that point. Okay. I don't know how much voice I'm going to have for today. But we're going to try. Because, well, no one's going to come out here and do this for me. I got a lot done off camera. All I was doing was coughing and cursing and being a little bit miserable. But yeah, I've got the other cylinder head on and got my header on. I actually moved my fuel line a little bit. Hooked up my battery tender because I noticed my starter was going slow. Torqued down my head bolts. I reused the head gaskets and head bolts again. And yuck, this sucks. Spark plugs, wires, injectors. Put my water hoses on. With this guy, someone was asking about this in the video, and yes, it is a hammer head welded to an adjustable 12-inch. And someone sent me this, awesomely enough, and I use it all the time. It's great. For obvious reasons. So we're going to put my plugs back in. Funny that the compression tester was bunk, huh guys? That's why, you know, I hate to be. I'm not going to be like, I knew there was an issue the whole time. But I made that long video like, are we sure? We know what's going on here? Because there's weird stuff going on here. Oh. Let me know if you guys have ever had a car that has See, like, lower compression, okay. But, like, 30 or 60 PSI? I got about 60 max. I'm like, 60? Holy crap, that's low, you know? And then what I also did was, I looked up what the compression ratio is for like this 08. This is a 2008 4.8. I looked it up. It's like 8.8 to 1. Now, I didn't do any math. I didn't use any calculators. I just literally found like a thread somewhere, and some guy was like, yep, 799.48 has 8.8 to 1, and when you put 862s on it, it makes it 9.5 to 1. So that's what I read. Let me know if you agree. So I thought I was starting higher and going higher, but that sounds about right. Because I have 150 pounds. That's how the rain running off my roof is that heavy. In this corner here, I guess I gotta look at my spouting, or it's just raining that ridiculous now. Someone commented in my last video, is it raining? And yes, it's like, we're like the new Seattle. The Northeast is now the Pacific North. I would like to look up rainfall for Seattle, known as like one of the rainiest places ever. I might be wrong. Correct me. Feel free, weathermen and women. But I bet we got more rain than rainy places. Because I feel like it has just not stopped raining. There are days like where it doesn't, but it's like 6 hours at a shot or 8 hours at a shot, it seems. It's not a particularly long time. Is that the last plug? 1, 2, 3. Do your job, man. Okay, there it is. Whew. Like I said, no one's going to come out here and do this for me. You lose the plugs, you have to whip out the spares. And also, since this LSA blower was meant to go on like a car, man, my knees are killing me. I'm an old man now. I'm sick. It's raining out. I've been kneeling over the front of this thing, pushing my knees into the bumper, pushing my knees backwards. I'm just going to complain today. How's that sound, guys? I'm just going to complain. I've been pushing my knees backwards. My knees are shot. I can't breathe. I read, my wife sent me an article. It says in Pennsylvania people are getting like bacterial respiratory infections, and that sounds nice. That sounds about right for what I have. Feels good, man. Let's tighten these spark plugs. This extension's a little bit too long. This is where the 1-inch is king for LS stuff. You're doing the spark plug just the way it reaches around the headers and the manifolds. I'm hoping we'll hear a nice crack. I break one. Mouth breathing today. Holy crap. Okay. Yeah, anyway, the blower is meant to be on a car. I can probably get rid of this torque wrench now. Yes, guys, I use a torque wrench. Imagine that. It happens to the best of us, right? I even take the batteries out of it so it doesn't get all corroded, because it doesn't get used often. Anyway, this goes on like a car, So the coil packs are lower on the car, but an interesting thing is, like LOJ says, the coil pack hits, the only thing that interferes, like in their whole kit, is the car coil pack sits so low sometimes you have to, it doesn't stop you from putting the rack of coils on, but when you go to put the plug boot on, it hits the firewall area. So they recommend you bash the one area, but the truck coils are so damn high, it's far away. Now what sucks about that is if you have truck coils like mine that are really high, and the blower, it puts the plugs for the coils and the injectors like on top of each other. It feels like they're gonna break, and you're like, is this gonna fit? Is this gonna give me long-term issues? Putting away my torque wrench. Putting away my torque wrench. Okay. Yeah, feeling like a slug. Okay, anyway, it's hard to do. You can't plug it in at the same time. It covers everything. So what I need to do is I plug the plug wires in, I plug the coils in, and then I lift the coil packs up, and I think I can only get the front bolts in here. The back one wants to pinch the harness and stuff too much. And I'm not one to install a ton of coil pack bolts. Anyway, I have to do my lower coolant line, pick up the car, do the exhaust, the belt, some other stuff. So let's get these coils on before you forget where you are. Talking to myself. What is this guy? Map sensor wiring that I had to extend. I moved my fuel line a little bit to get some of the clutter out of this area. This vacuum hose is in my way now. A little bit tight. The owner of LOJ actually asked me if it was as hard as a Camaro. Oh man, come on. And I said, I haven't really worked on a lot of 4th gens, but this is certainly easier. It's not the easiest car to work on. With the LS isn't that bad until you put this blower on. It takes up every other inch of space possible. But if you have a little LS in here and a car intake, it's pretty small. You really don't have anything going on. Come on. That one doesn't crimp. Sometimes when they're old, they don't make all the clicking noises. It makes me nervous. Sometimes I'm sliding on my cardboard. Sometimes I actually take the thing back out and pinch them a little bit. Yeah, like right now, just the harnesses are flat up against each other. And I have it's smushing like almost a 5/8 mass like this up against the fuel rail and the coil pack and everything, and there's just no slack to get it higher. Complain, complain, complain. My plug boot again is not very positive, but it's on there. My coil pack is connected, and now, yeah, everything is just smashed. It's ridiculous over here. I wish there was a tiny bit more slack. You know what I might do is I like these injectors, but I might change them just to do some tuning on some more injectors, or build an extension harness for these, but it's kind of a waste to extend to these. I'd like to build an intermediate and maybe do 210s and get a base tune developed for the E38 speed density with 210s, even though I'll never use them. But I could build adapters and then make the... I can barely get the plug in here. I should show you. While I'm bitching about it, I should bring the camera over here then and show you how tight it is. It's ridiculous. It's just the placement of everything isn't that great. Can't get this guy in there. Mr. Stubby, we're gonna trade you. One coil pack bolt. She's good. Too much stuff going on. Time to throw it on the floor. I like putting everything on the floor. Don't know why. Don't have an explanation for you. Alright. Let's get these guys on. Let me get the belt on. And then I disconnected the fuel pump and the water pump. I have to reconnect the exhaust. I have to make sure this stuff isn't touching the exhaust. It's loose down low. I cut all the zip ties and everything out to get the headers, O2 sensors and everything out of the way. So I didn't break anything. So now everything's just laying. Anything loose under there is not where it should be. This side isn't as bad. There's a little bit more room. Is that guy on there? There it is. See, some of them don't have the positive click. Some of them do. So you just gotta push it 6 times. Click. And then it's easier to put the plug wires on because this is so tight. With this blower, when you get the when you get the coil pack in here, you can't get your hand in here. Barely. It just makes it way easier to do the plugs first. Now I think I can lay the whole rack. This side isn't as bad with the coil rack either, I think, because there's more slack in the injector wiring. But yeah, see how this is up against this, is up against this, is up against this. And there's not a lot of room to get it above on the other side, so you are like at its mercy. Let's see this side. See, it's got to go higher. So you almost have to, and you cannot because the blower takes up every available inch. The best thing you could do is get this harness jammed under the injector, but you can't because the wires come out of like the front. It's just not and then you end up burying everything you need to reach. So let's just plug you in. I think I can get let me get the wire out. I think I can get a bolt or 2 on here. Yeah. But the coil pack harnesses are almost flat up against the fuel rails. That's the only fitment issue that's really going on here. Like I said, your coil pack mounting location and wire length are the difference here. But smashed. We are smashed. And then I need to zip tie this stuff so it doesn't go into the belt. Zip tie all of this, zip tie all of that. Get about half a roll of zip ties in the engine bay. Plug wire number 1. Plug wire number 2. 3. 4. But yeah, that's what I ran into before putting them on, so I figured I'd share. Oh boy, I'm a disaster. Alright. I got that bolt in for the tensioner. I got this. I almost have to take this throttle body off to get this wiring perfect. Might as well, right? Everybody asks me what throttle body this is. This is a Snake Eater throttle. And I don't know where he is on this yet. At one point, he wanted to sell them. So he sent me this one to test. And then he was going to sell intake manifolds and some other stuff, I think. And then at one point he said like the logistics of it wasn't that great. For the pricing, or I might be making stuff up now. But I think at some point he told me he may or may not bring them to market. But it has been working great. There are issues with the stock computer when you put on like a non-stock throttle body. This is a 92. I think he had 102, but I told him I didn't want a gigantic one, but I would definitely try this one, because the other one that I have is like the crappy stock truck style one, and this one looks nicer. And it's a little bit bigger. So it'll be fun to try. So I don't know if he's carrying those yet. There were things I had to turn off. Like it was throwing codes. Like I said, that's pretty much gonna happen if you go from a stock throttle body. That's for my math. Let's just tuck you in there. Go to sleep. If you go from a stock throttle body to a not stock throttle body, it throws like different location and voltage information usually. And there are fail-safes in the computer for that. And what it does is it flips out and goes into limp mode. And it's like, hey, something's wrong. Your throttle is, it's not where I'm expecting it to be. And I just had to turn off that stuff and some limit issues. I should have got all this, but I'll keep this one separate. And then to keep this out of the... Yeah, everything else looks pretty happy. This is for like the front cam, so we're going to zip tie this to the little water hose so it can't drop down. And then over here I zip tie it to the oil lines. Throw them on the floor. Yeah, zippy this to this just in case it doesn't, wants to walk somewhere. No walking. No walking allowed. We're going to need some more zippies for sure. Get that guy out of the way. That was way easier. With the throttle body off. Okay. Technically this throttle body's upside down because right side up. It does fit, I think. I tried this. Yeah, but it's really close to the blower pulley. If you had a bigger pulley, it would not fit. And then you have to plug the wiring in, and the wiring connector is like up against these pulley bolts. It actually says Snake Eater here. It's still there, screen printed. But that's the issue with getting the electronic throttle body. I think also he might have been thinking about. His name's Brad, nice guy. He's a cool dude. The other issue is most often people using the electronic throttle body are using a stock computer, not like a Haltech or a Holly Dominator that's probably going to disagree with it. And some of them it is trouble to get them to ignore all the factory stuff. Be like, just be quiet and open and close the throttle body for me. It doesn't want to do that. So I don't know if he has any more consideration or is selling them or I haven't asked him. Okay. That's good. Do we do the geese? Do we shoot the geese? It's miserable outside. What are you guys doing? That proves that geese are just dumb. Why are you flying? It's disgusting outside. Dumb as hell. Okay. I torqued my blower down. Someone was commenting, oh my god, a torque wrench. And I was like, well, I have a $3,000 intake manifold. So I want to make sure it's flat. And then this, I like to make sure it's flat also. Hey, I was thinking about, I thought it'd be funny to get this blower lid painted the same color as the hood. And then you would never really see the blower. Most people wouldn't really notice it. Let me know what you guys think of that. I think that'd might be something I would do. I would consider it. I kind of like that it's poking out. I kind of like if it would be a little bit disappeary would be cool too. Got my battery charger done charging. Let's see if I can remember this. All the way back. All the way back. Get this guy going. Hopefully I didn't make too much of a puddly mess with my coolant. Oh, I feel like a 70-year-old. Can barely move. Oh, yeah. Alternator. Idler. Crank. Quit your bitching. Ripped the glove. Oh no, I ripped the glove. Oh no. Ripped the glove. This guy. LOJ Magic. Bottom. Middle. Kinda middle. Lefty. Sorta. Let's take my hood prop out and lower my hood. I'm having trouble seeing the blowers. What a problem to have. The blower is blocking my light source. Dang blower's blocking my light. Put the hood prop in its place. Water pump. It's wrapped around the water pump, kinda, sorta. We got to get this guy going in this direction. We pull it off the crank. Put it back. Put it back. And the water pump. It's tight. It's a small little area. Oh, it's got to go around the alternator again. Oh yeah, take your time. No one's waiting on camera. Do your thing. Yeah. Literally feel like I'm in slow motion. Oh boy. Okay, so here's the belt. And this, man, there's no way to film this. You know how we could film this is with cameraman Glenn. That's how we would get this, because this cannot be filmed with the fan and everything in the way here. It's easier with the motor off, with the motor out. Okay. Please don't screw me. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Everything kind of where it belongs. Yeah, let's get if I could, this is an amazing setup, and it works, and it fits beautifully, and the engineering part of it is amazing, and Steven does an excellent job, but man, some days I just wish there was a tensioner here. I could just like pull a wrench and bolt this thing on. Maybe he'll do a 2.0 for blower guys. Maybe we could convince him to do like an 8-rib setup. Actually, he wouldn't need much convincing. I could just throw money at him and he would do it. He's a sensible man. He understands. Busy guy though. You gotta pay him. He's swapping the world right now. Follow him on Instagram, LOJ Conversions. Every day, hustling. Doing some crazy stuff, building stuff, swapping stuff. Being an absolute legend. Okay. Oh, do I have the belt off? You gotta be kidding me. Rip this glove in half with the Allen key. I got the belt too far back on the blower. Too far forward, sorry. Everything else is good. Oh, that's hard to do. Take a break. My hands. Time to bitch, guys. Time to bitch. We're gonna take a quick. We're gonna take a Harbor Freight glove break. We're gonna listen to the soft drizzle of pouring rain. Drink some cold hot coffee. Breathe out of my mouth. Snort and cough. And mouth breathe some more. Sound like a hippo. Rip my glove trying to install it because I'm a noob. Okay. Okay. Bitching complete. Yeah, bitching all done. Okay, that has gotta... Can I? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use a cam buckle real quick to pull that in to give me some room. Because it's like naturally sprung. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life, man? I got brackets up there, but I don't have a stool. Where's my stool at? Oh, I found it. I found my stool. Excuse me. Oh yeah, disgusting cam buckle. This'll do it. This'll do it. It even says in the instruction manual, this is very hard to do by yourself, but it can be done. Let's Sweet. That's slack. Hopefully make this easier. Oh man. That was the assistance I needed. So you get this guy most of the way, and then you have to pry the bottom over. That's how tight you want this belt. You want it to be super duper tight. So now let's get a pry bar. Let's get adjustable badass pry bar that a viewer sent me. I'm going to keep throwing my Aussie slang around today. Another absolute legend of a viewer sent me a 4. There's 4 of these in the kit. They're made by OTC, and they're like the impact stainless, or the impact metal. And you can index the... This is incredible. And normally, you get screwed when you put this somewhere. You can just change the head position, like, oh, it's going to run into things if I try to pull it here. So I can put it here and then use it as a pry. Let's get on the back of this. Get the bottom one in. Can't see. Oh, yes. I can see just enough. It's almost like I struggled with this before. Also, the belt slightly loosened up, because this was really hard when this belt was new. It's stretched on the dyno. I tightened it up. We got full boost, and all the other subsequent logs were full boost. See, now what I want to get done when I finally stop being a moron and get this finished is I want to drop it off at Area 1320, which my buddy that did the cylinder heads. We're going to vacuum check those heads. I'm going to have him build a 4-inch intake. I bought a really close silicone 90, and then he's going to build an intake that goes down in here, and we're going to shove a little filter boy down in there, because right now it's eating all the hot air off the rad and then trying to intercool it. So intercooler will have to work a lot less. It'll be easier to maintain colder air if we're pulling it out of there and then cooling it instead of off of the radiator. Okay, so those bolts are in. Let's move Mr. Disgusting out of here. Put him back up on his shelf. Okay. We gotta tighten these before I forget. We tighten all these down. Once all these guys are tight, we manually tension the belt, which is an exercise in itself. Spin this guy on. Man, it looks like there is zero room in the front here, but there's just enough to get this done. I've worked on stuff that's more difficult, obviously, and stuff that's easier also, so this certainly isn't great, but it's not bad. Not bad. Could always be worse. You know what I want to do is tighten my lower rad hose. Back up. Let's just climb under there and do it. I think I can get it from here. Pretty much. We're going to do swap out some cardboard, bolt my exhaust up, all sorts of junk under here. Okay, stand up. This one, oh, I Got so lucky with that. There's a bolt behind the pulley, which if you were listening earlier, you would know about, because I complained about it. So that, once I pull this back, we can tighten that. This guy goes into the cylinder head, and then we tighten the manual tensioner half moon here that goes into the stock location. And then we like look for other things to do that have got to get done. I also have to wire my booster pump, but for now I'm just going to plug it in and get it running. And then once it runs, just check everything over, and I gotta wire the booster pump. I don't really even want to, because I want to go straight to the dyno once it's running, so there's no point in not having the booster pump in it, because it's already has like a 13.0 air fuel wide open, it's out. So let's tighten this belt. We need this guy in the 15. How do I want to do this? Can't remember how I did originally. Oh yeah, you go like this, right in here. Right in here and push up against the I use this guy, or do I use something else? It's like watching my 1-year-old when he just wakes up, try to figure something out. Except he's quicker than I am. I gotta get a bigger pry bar stuff in there. That one's good and all, but it's round, and I'm putting it up against something that's flat, and I can't. This one will probably, no, I can do this. Keep a little tension on it. Drop the hood on your face. Alright, so we got the 17, I believe that is. And now there's you need a really skinny 15 to get in next to the belt and tighten this. Second bolt. Oh, now that's like a, you can hear it. It sounds like a violin. Twang. Okay. That's done. Let's connect the exhaust. Make sure all of my plastic stuff. I almost melted the starter wire. There's a power wire for the starter that runs inside. Here's the engine block and here's the header. And I must have never zip tied it or forgot to, or it doesn't matter. There wasn't anything there. And it was almost touching the header and it was starting to melt the stuff. So I zip tied all that stuff up against the starter, up against the block, wrapped it around the back. Now it's out of the way. I also bent the fuel line farther away because all that stuff was just coming up through here. There's so much junk in the trunk. And yeah, we're gonna go underneath and connect the exhaust and probably curse a whole bunch. I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to evacuate my sinuses and drink some water and other disgusting things. Alright, I do believe I have enough stuff in a good spot to start it. See if it starts and runs. I have to connect the fuel pump in the back seat. I disconnected it so it doesn't spray all over the place. Gotta plug her back in. Gotta climb in here. Alright. That's plugged in. I'm leaving everything apart for now because I gotta wire the booster pump while I'm in the air. Okay. Air fuel. The fuel pump only cycled once. Clutch is in. Cool. Up and then check the coolant.